Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
All right, the biggest myths and misconceptions in retirement. I want to start things off, though, with a lady who wrote into MoneyWise, and she asked, is opting to draw down my 401k to boost my Social Security check a shrewd move or boneheaded? So, a myth, a misconception, drawing down the 401k, thinking that'll boost my Social Security. Is that a good idea, a bad idea, a misconception? What say you, George Politarhos?
I think it's an absolutely foolish idea to go forward, personally. Why would you ever use your money when you can use their money mentality? Mm-hmm. And we talk about this all the time, Mark. There's questions about this, about how strong Social Security is. We know there's some question marks about the financial strength of the program, and we're talking about 2033 possibly having up to 24% reduction in coverage. Why, with that being said, would you start using your money out of your pocket instead of pulling theirs? I don't understand that. And a lot of people think that's just the way it should be. But I always use the analogy that we have a local furniture store here, and we just bought new outdoor table, the chairs, all that for the patio, and new furniture inside. We could have wrote a check for it out of our bank account. We could have used our credit card and paid interest on it. But we used the furniture store's credit card, have 0% interest for 3 years. So the $7,000, $8,000 on the furniture, whatever the bill was, I break it down over those 3 years, pay that, no interest. Or I take the money out of my bank account and pay that so I don't have the power or the availability of it to grow.
Yeah.
And use that. Which makes more sense to you, Mark?
Using their money.
Right. And that's the same philosophy when you look at 401k versus taking Social Security. Let it build. If it goes past that full retirement age of Social Security, so full retirement age Social Security, folks, is based off the year you were born, okay? So if you're born 1960 and beyond, your full retirement age is 67. Every year you take it after that age, it increases by 8%. Every time you take it before that age, it decreases about 9.5%. Doesn't it make more sense to take their money and let your 401k continue to grow by having the right portfolio mix, having some safe money with the 401k, some, and still having money at risk in the markets? You will outperform that 8% growth, A. B, you'll have your money do what you want to do with it, when you want to do it, and how you want to do with it. So let's get that off the table. And we have this conversation with people all the time when they come in the office here at 501 Silverside Road. Do you want your money to be used up or their money? And it always should be their money.
Amen.
Call me at 302-330-2166, and let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the hard facts to make that determination for you.
302-330-2166. Real quick on Social Security, what would you tell the adult in their late 40s, early to mid 50s, when we always have these discussions about Social Security? For the person still about 10 years out of retirement, I mean, is it something that we can even rely on, or do we just treat it as a bonus? Because I know some adults that are retired right now, Social Security is a huge part of their monthly income. But for the next generation, is it just going to be like, hey, man, just consider it, a small piece of supplemental income? What are you telling those people?
I truly believe, and I maybe I'm the optimist here, Mark. I truly believe that people in Washington are going to get off their collective backsides and remember they work for you and I, the American people, and do what's right for us and find the solution to fix this. But let's be realistic. When they do that, folks, they're going to do what's ever the most cost efficient and beneficial for them, not necessarily for us. We look at those 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. My mentality is we show it's going to be there. I am not going to promise you that. Forget about it. Let's plan accordingly and assume we don't have it. Alex and Jarrett don't ever think about it. They're not going to have it. That's why we started pension plans for them, using their money to start building a pension, a tax-free stream of income when they hit their retirement years to subsidize. And if that Social Security is there, that's awesome. That's great. But let's be realistic. We spend more money than we bring in as a country. And it's funny. We had a seminar a couple weeks back, and we talk about taxes, tax strategies. And I do a graph on the board for you. 1942, What was the highest tax rate in this country, Mark?
In
I'll help you out
1940,
on time frame?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
97%.
oh, God,
94%.
I was going to say like 25%. Good Lord.
Yeah. 94%. We had a war to pay for. 1970s, we have problems with OPEC. How about the OPEC embargo? The highest tax rate was 77%. Today, 36, 39%. Substantially down. But let's look at the cross of a national debt. Let's pick a number, folks. What's national debt today? You can say any monopoly number you want to.
Right.
$40 trillion.
Sure. Why not? It'll be there.
We have this huge gap between our debt and our income. That's a problem that someone's going to pay for. And that's probably going to come out of Social Security and have a problem for our children and our younger people, our 40-year-olds. So let's plan on not being there and be happily surprised if it is.
302-330-2166. Always talking about income and retirement because income is the outcome that's going to matter the most. Talking about your Social Security, also talking about your 401k strategy with George Politarhos. 302-330-2166, betrayawealth.com. All right, another myth, misconception in retirement. George, if I just follow that 4% rule, I'll be fine. So let's start at the beginning. Define the 4% rule for me, and why is that a myth?
There is a retirement strategy that says if I just pull 4% of my retirement out every year, I should be able to survive for the next retirement, my lifetime in retirement. The problem is that when you look at that, what happens when you have down markets? What happens? Do you pull out of that 4% out of a down market? The answer is no. The answer really is closer to 2.5% is the rule you should be looking at, not 4%. But there's ways to get promises and guarantees about that income. One of the things we talk about is giving you a guaranteed lifetime payment that pays you out. It's about 6.5% to 7%, guaranteed. So when you live to be 100, I don't have to worry about, the market's down. What do I do? What are we not going to do this year because we don't have the money? That's protection. So the 4% rule is pretty much of a fallacy that looked really good on paper. And if the world's perfect, and folks, any of us know the world's definitely not perfect.
Nope.
That's a great thing. But you need to be educated, informed, and enlightened. Call me at 302-330-2166, and let's talk about that. Let's see where it's going. Or you can go to our on-site at betrayawealth.com. That's PATRIA wealth.com. Schedule that no-cost, no-obligation appointment. Let's sit down and see how we can help you. And the biggest problem, I think, Mark, and we're talking about fallacies and myths that people hear about retirement. I think people consider themselves going to the water cooler. And you're at the office, and you went to the water cooler or the coffee machine or the break room, and John is talking about X, Y, and Z, and it must be right.
Yeah.
Or Sue's talking about A, B, C, and it must be true. We are all individuals, different people. You are not them, and they are not you. We need to have it down to what is right for you and your family, not what is right for the Smiths that live down the street around the corner. That's the worst part about this.
Yeah.
And people, I don't know. Did you ever go fishing, Mark? I've never gone fishing, but have you ever gone fishing? Oh, and the fish you caught was that little sunfish, right? That was like 3 inches long. You were telling Gretchen, honey, I had this beast.
Massive.
It was,
big.
bigger than the boat. We need a bigger boat.
Threw my back out.
It all gets blown out. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way a lot of retirement information is passed around between friends. They brag about this. They brag about that. This is the right thing. And folks, they know as little as we all do.
Right.
So you need to have a professional sit down and help you go through that. Call me at 302-330-2166. And let's talk about how we're going to make this work for you.
Yeah, I guess that could be a misconception as well because every plan is different. Just because a stock works for your buddy that sits next to you at work doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Your investment plan, his investment plan, completely different situations. 302-330-2166, betrayawealth.com, PATRIA, betrayawealth.com. I love this one because we hear this all the time and it seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of people like to believe, George, that, you know what? I'm just going to spend less money when I retire. Talk to me.
Your spending habits definitely change. You don't have that gas going to work. You don't have those type of expenses. You pick up new ones. So when we meet with you, we do a retirement plan, a financial plan for tomorrow. We go over expenses because some of the expenses you have today, you're not going to have tomorrow or next year. And some that you don't have now, we're going to have when you retire.
Yeah.
And that's really the biggest thing. Leslie's been retired going on a year, and she absolutely loves it. She looks living her best life ever, I guess is the right way to say this. Finding her Debbie. Debbie is the horse that she rides. I had to preface that statement.
Understandable.
And she's having a great time. But our spending has increased, and for good reasons. I mean, I'm still working, so it's not a problem. But, we're renovating things in the house. We spend a lot more money. Now, we always spent money on Archer, our grandson, but more things for Archer's coming through. We're traveling more, right? So we're doing things we couldn't do when we were working. So our expenses have changed, but we planned for it. We knew this time was coming. We knew that Les was going to retire and then take the next step. That's what we're looking at. That's what we planned for 15 years. To get to where we are today and going forward for the next 30 years. So when you think you're going to spend less in retirement, you're going to spend different in retirement, but having a plan in place, having that income plan lined up, knowing if we have a pension, great. If you don't, we're going to make up for it. Having the 401k, where we're going to pool money from in retirement. We're going to turn on that Social Security, right? Because we're not going to use our money.
Yeah.
We're going to pool Social Security. We're going to subsidize what we need, maybe from our 401k, or start another income plan going forward. That's what makes the financial plan so important. And the Family First Retirement Plan does that for you. We go over expenses. We show the income. We have that big, nasty word, tax strategies, taxes. We talk about Social Security planning, and we talk about legacy, how we're going to get to where we want to be, how we want to be, and when we're going to go forward. Call us at 302-330-2166. Let's discuss it. There's no cost, no obligation. Or stop by the office here at 501 Silverside Road, Wilmington, 19809.
Talking about spending money in retirement, I think for my mom when she retired, that she was surprised at how much extra, like she spoils the grandkids, but instead of just spoiling them on a Saturday or Sunday, now she's picking them up on a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Saturday and a Sunday. So she was like, yeah, my biggest expense now is the grandkids. And we're like, well, they thank you for that.
And they love it. You're building that memory situation with them. It's making her stay young.
Do you have people that come to you and they say, now that I'm retired, it's time to take that round-the-world cruise with the family, or I'm going to take the grandkids to Disney? And, you have to start planning ahead for something like that, because when we talk about you're not going to be spending less if you're going to Disney.
We have Sharon and John, who are clients of ours now, 7 years, live in Jersey, down by the shore. And they took a trip last year to Greece. Them, their son, his wife, their baby, their daughter, son-in-law, their 2 kids, and her sister and brother. We planned for this. This was a bucket list. Now that they're retired, we had that scheduled out and planned for it, where they felt no distress over the money part of it, but that was part of their plan. That's something they wanted to do with the family, and they did it. We can do anything we want to, Mark. We can take that trip around the world. People go on cruises for the year, live on the cruise ship for a year or something.
You hear those stories about the family? There's that one couple, or there's probably multiple couples, but they retired, sold their house, didn't move into assisted living or an active adult community. They live on a cruise ship. They cruise 52 weeks a year.
God bless them. That's great. But that's what their goal was. Having that plan, having that foresight. Because we talk about that. What are your goals? What do you want to look forward to in the next 5, 10 years? Big things. That's that bucket about we're going to start planning for that expense now of taking that trip, living that life. And that's what having a financial plan is important.
That's right.
It's funny, Mark. We work with people from all over the spectrum of people. And I see a lot of engineers, and engineers are really smart people. They look at things kind of differently than most of us.
Yeah.
Very smart people. They have great spreadsheets as a rule. And the spreadsheet's really cool, but it's a bunch of numbers on a plan. It doesn't have it doesn't think for you and help you go through. Calculate inflation. We look at all that when we do this plan. We look at inflation, cost of living adjustments. We take the steps that you're not thinking about, because you retire once in life. We retired 1,000 times already because we do it every day with everyone that we meet and planning accordingly. Call us at 302-330-2166, and let's see how your Family First Retirement Plan can help you be in a better place for tomorrow.
And you're probably listening this weekend and you're going, yeah, but my portfolio is kind of a mess. Or I was kind of lazy during my 40s and I kind of am behind the ball on getting a plan together. George has seen every portfolio. He's worked with just about every aspect of every retirement plan. So you may think you're in a bad spot, but there's a pretty good chance that George has seen worse and he's worked with worse.
Right. You know what, Mark? When we were our 40s, 20, 30, 40s, maybe even early 50s, we had this thing called life involved. We had our kids maybe or younger. We had, t-ball, soccer, football, volleyball. We had to pay the bills. We were working hard. We were going to church. We're trying to do everything possible. And the planning part of it is going to be tomorrow. And that's okay. But first off, the mistakes that we made in the past are behind us. Who cares?
Yep.
Let's just take the right steps to go forward. And that does not mean, in essence, cutting off your hand. We have to sacrifice everything today for a better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's about doing things intelligently, smartly, and planning accordingly. We're going to help you do that. I can promise you one thing, folks. I can guarantee you, we never say that word. I can guarantee you one thing.
That's a bold statement.
You will never be judged, criticized, or put down for the things we've done in the past. The last perfect person died over 2,000 years ago. We're all human. But let's take the steps forward to be in the best place tomorrow.
That's right. You were talking about mistakes we've made in the past. I don't know why I thought about this, but think about your dating life. Think about all the mistakes you made. I'm going to marry this one. Oh, God, I'm glad I didn't. Boy, that was a mistake. I'm going to marry this one. Oh, man, I'm glad I got away. But you learn from every single one of those failed relationships. In the same way with yes, we've made mistakes, but we learn from it and we grow from it. 302-330-2166, BetrayalWealth.com.
I call that the frog moments.
Okay.
Because you kissed a lot of frogs to get to your princess or your prince in life. Whether it is, the people you dated through college and earlier on, or the mistakes we might have made with planning or taking risks. We kissed a lot of frogs, folks, but we get to be where we are today. All those frogs made me George today, and that's really a benefit for Leslie, so it's good.
Let George be your prince or your jester. Let George
Jester. That's what I have. Yeah. I have the hat with the rings on it, the bells.
That's right.
Yes.
Let George Jester. Let him be part of your kingdom. 302-330-2166. And we invite you to give the team a follow on social media, especially on Facebook. Just put a search on it, Patria Wealth, Patria Wealth. Jared does an incredible job with the social media. Great informative information, multiple posts throughout the week. Quick, easy to read, really good information. Just put a search on it, give them a follow. Patria Wealth over on Facebook. All right, continuing our conversation this weekend about the biggest myths and misconceptions in retirement. All right, George Politarhos, you mentioned this a couple of minutes ago. Hey, George, once I retire, my taxes are going to go down, right? Uncle Sam's going to retire with me. Isn't that how that works?
Oh, sure it is, because they're there to help you.
Not so fast, huh?
The government's not here to help you, folks. And we were brought up with the perception that you retired in a 401k, a thrift savings plan, a 403b, 457. You put it in before taxes because when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. How many people we meet, Mark, that have a required minimum distribution coming up? They've saved too much money.
Yep.
And they have a big tax obligation. It's a first world problem. But having the correct tax strategy will help us tremendously. Having that tax strategy will get you in the right place to be lined up so we can move forward and be prepared. But to think they're going to go down, we have to think about this. And let's take this for a second. We know today that we still have the Trump era taxes. It is a substantial savings from what taxes were under the Obama administration. And they were just with the one big, beautiful bill. They were made, I'm using air quotations, permanent. Well, let's think about this. We just talked about how much debt we have as a country, how we have an outstanding sale on taxes right now with the low taxes. We have a huge problem between the two. This tax structure is only good probably until the next administration or two step up, and then they have to raise taxes, I believe.
Yeah.
So we don't know what tomorrow has, right? We don't know what the taxes are going to be in 10 years. We know what they are now. So having a tax strategy, maybe a Roth conversion makes sense. Maybe funneling that money different ways, have tax-free income makes sense. But when you come in the office, we'll look at the pros and cons. We'll see what's going to cost us to do X, Y, and Z so that you can make an educated decision. And I say that phrase often because at the end of the day, I need the educated decisions to help us. I need to be intelligent, have the facts, and then you can make the right step forward. Call me at 302-330-2166, and let's see how we can help you be in a better place.
302-330-2166 or online at PetraeaWealth.com, P-A-T-R-I-A, PetraeaWealth.com. You can shoot the team a note from the homepage, and we invite you to stream the Family First Retirement Podcast. You can find this weekend's show and a full archive of shows, specialty shows, celebrity interviews, and much, much more. Again, from the homepage at PetraeaWealth.com, P-A-T-R-I-A Wealth.com. Hey, I want to go back to one more myth or misconception about taxes for you, George. You see those commercials that say, call me now, I will give you a tax-free retirement. Is that clickbait, or is there a real opportunity to pay no taxes in retirement?
A tax-free retirement, there's several ways we can, because think about this, there's 3 buckets of money. We have taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free, right?
Okay.
Tax-deferred is your 401k, your thrift savings plan, traditional IRAs, that's tax-deferred. You put the money in today, you let it grow, and when you pull it out, everything's taxable.
Yeah.
You have taxable accounts or your Charles Schwab accounts, your Fidelity accounts, where you're getting taxed every year on the growth. And then we have tax-free. The only 2 tax-free retirement instruments are life insurance and Roth IRAs. Now, it's funny. We get to travel a lot for our profession, Mark, right? We get to go beach places to do presentations and work with clients. And folks, you're getting on the plane and you're just tired. You know, you're one of those days, it's been a long day, you sit on the plane. And I always say hi to everybody. I say, hey, John, how are you? I'm George. We're going to be sitting next to each other for a few hours. Hope you have a great day. And they start talking. And you're not in the mood to talk. You're in that mood where you just want to be quiet.
Yep.
So when they say something to me and they say, so what do you do for a living? I say, I sell life insurance. Boy, does that person's head hit the window and turn around.
Well, I'm going to put my headphones on and watch a movie. I'll see you when we land.
But life insurance, if funded correctly and used properly, gives us totally tax-free income in retirement. We can use it. I use that for pension planning. Alex and Jared have them. So when they turn 60 years old, they have a tax-free income that they'll never outlive, guaranteed. That's the only way to go forward.
Yeah.
Or doing Roth conversions or Roth TSPs and 401ks. But there is a fee to that. So you're going to pay me today for a Roth conversion, you're going to pay me tomorrow. We have to do it the right way. And with a tax strategy properly in place, we can help you accomplish that. 302-330-2166.
Insurance and annuities offered through George A. Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.